you've done the work. You're a new person now. You know what you want, you know what you don't want. You determine your criteria, you have your standards now, you know what kind of person you're attracted to, and yet the same kind of toxic, not aligned with you type of person keeps circling around you. And it's irritating. You don't understand why. What do they want? You start dating someone, you think it's going well, and boom, oh no, they're toxic. How did I let that in? Socially, you find the same type of people being attracted to you, and you don't understand why you keep attracting them. And today I'm gonna tell you 3 main reasons why you keep attracting the wrong people, toxic profile of person, not aligned with you type of people around you, and how to make it stop. So the first reason is that this person, that kind of person that you can tell is the same profile of people that you see repeatedly being attracted to you, wanting to enter your reality, your magnetic field. You want to pay attention to what exactly is triggering you about them and build kind of a profile of who they are. Because what often happens is that you might still be attached to a person from your past that you know is toxic, but is still part of your life. Or you still attached to the relationship you guys had back then, and this relationship was toxic. And so you really want to make sure who that person is reminding you of. It might be anyone from your past, and work on that relationship with that specific person from your past, because there is an unfinished business here, emotionally speaking. And so because you're still attached to them, that profile of person, that energy keeps circling around you because it's not ended. You haven't detached fully from them. One thing you need to know is that most of the time it always comes down to family members, because this is really where we build our understanding of the world, of relationship, of ourselves through them growing up. And so most of the time when you feel like there is this same type of person that circles around you that you keep attracting, oftentimes that because they are your ghost father, your ghost mother, your ghost brother, sister. And by ghost I mean this is who's behind that person, this is who is attracted to you, and you're attracted to them as well. Your energy is still attached to that member, to that person. And so you want to investigate the relationship that you have with that person, if it was a former relationship and that things change now, or if it's still ongoing. If you still have a very toxic relationship with one of your parents, for example, let's say your mother, but this person is still part of your life and you have done the work, but when it comes to your relationship with her, you're still allowing a lot of things, a lot of toxic things to happen to you. And so what is happening is that subconsciously you're still attached to the belief that this behavior is okay, and you still vibe with this kind of behavior. And so obviously, even though you know what you want in your life, no matter how healthy it is, if in your inner circle you haven't done the work with the core, which is your family members, the primary toxic people of your life, you're gonna keep attracting them outwards in the outside world, in other forms, in other people. And so it took me a long time to realize that no matter how clear I am on my boundaries, no matter how clear I am on who I am attracted to, what kind of person I want in my life, what kind of friends, what kind of women I want to be friends with, I didn't realize that no matter how clear I was there, if I don't work on my relationship with my mother, I'm going to keep attracting that kind of woman. And my mother was extremely toxic. I say was because she changed so much, but growing up until not that long ago, the archetype of the narcissistic mother. And so I was still attracting women like this because I haven't detached from my relationship with this person. And detaching doesn't mean that you cut ties with people unless it's really necessary, but it means that the relationship that you had was toxic and you break it. You are no longer going to engage in this relationship. It means that you will set boundaries from now on. You will keep your distance with her if it's a parent. You will keep your distance with them. You will no longer allow that relationship to be something normal that happens because it's the way it is. And so I hope I was clear on this point, but it is really important because it took me too long to realize that changing is one thing, but as long as you don't deeply heal your relationship with the first people of your life, siblings, parents, basically your subconscious is still vibing with that frequency. And if that frequency is toxic, you're going to keep attracting that kind of people in your life, because subconsciously you're still attached to them. Even if you think you're done with that behavior, your subconscious is not. So the second point is very similar, but I'm just going in depth, a bit more in depth, and that's checking the dynamic of the relationship. Because the reason why you might still be attracting toxic people you know you don't want, but they keep circling around you, might be because you're actually attached to a certain dynamic. And so that's slightly different, because here it's really about the dynamic of the relationship. Let me give you an example. I grew up in an environment where bullying and being basically very mean to each other was a love language. That was how we would connect. That's very common toxic trait in our society, unfortunately. I really grew up with my siblings, that really how we would talk to each other. We would be just seriously so mean, saying such mean stuff to each other, and that was just normal. Also, there was this not showing ourselves truly, which is also another very common thing that happened in most families. We never really showed ourselves. It was really superficial interactions. And so I made my list about what kind of partner I want in my life, and I started to meet people. It's funny how the ego, the thinking mind, will blur your vision until you do the work and realize what you were doing. So I kept dating, going on dates with people that turned out to be liars, like huge liars, or mostly pretending to be someone they were not. And that's how I started to really ask myself, what the hell is happening? Why I keep attracting people like that in my life? I don't understand. I don't want that. I changed. I made my list. I'm clear on my criteria. So thank God I know that I don't want that. So now I'm going to reject you. But still, why was I attracted to you in the first place? And why were you attracted to me in the first place? I was really mad. I was confused. I didn't understand why there was this kind of electricity that brought us together every time. So obviously after one day, 2 days, at some point you start realizing the person you're not aligned with them, they're toxic, they're liars, and okay, you take your distance. But I wish I could just bump into people that I'm aligned with. What's going on? Well, as I was saying before, I was attracted to a certain dynamic, and this dynamic, they were toxic. They belonged to toxic behaviors. And so I didn't realize that even though I was looking for loyalty, kindness and all this stuff, I knew that I enjoyed, for example, teasing each other. I enjoyed this kind of insulting each other as a way to connect. I was still doing these things. I was still not showing myself fully, because that was a pattern that I grew up with, and I didn't realize I was still doing that with these people that I met. And so I was attracted to people who were responding to that kind of dynamic. Oh, you like teasing each other? Yeah, and it's not teasing nicely. It was really like basically being kind of mean and a bit hurtful to each other. And that was really, to me, so familiar. I needed that. And that's just a few examples, but in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that this dynamic belongs to a toxic behavior. Insulting each other, being mean to each other is actually not a healthy way to connect. And hiding yourself, not showing your emotions, not showing who you are truly up front is also not healthy at all. And I didn't realize that. And so these people turned out to be toxic, like the people I grew up with, obviously, because they had so much in common. And so you want to look into what is going on that you feel slightly attracted to with these people. You want to break it down and realize, okay, why was I attracted to you in the first place? What happened? You'll realize so much about the attachment your subconscious still has, what your subconscious believes is healthy, the toxic traits that you have, the toxic habits, way to connect. So I had to actually relearn healthy interactions, healthy ways to connect with other people, because you can't want someone that's faithful, you can't want, all the classic things that we want in a relationship. But what you don't understand most of the time is that in order to get that, you actually have to look into the dynamics that go along with that profile of people, and people that are healthy-minded, kind, good intentions, authentic. If you're looking for someone authentic, well, this person is going to show up front. They're going to show you who they are right away, very early. They're going to have a very straightforward communication style. They're going to ask you uncomfortable questions and be very clear about it from the beginning. So if you're not clear about that as well, you're going to be confused. You're going to have to learn learn, okay, if I want someone who's authentic and not a liar, so super honest, I actually have to sit with having uncomfortable conversation. I have to sit with letting people see me truly, even when I'm ugly, even when I'm going through my ugly emotions. I'm gonna have to let them see me, because that's what being authentic means, and all those stuff, you know what I mean? If I want someone who's super kind-hearted, and that's a big one in our society, you actually have to change the way you connect with people, because saying mean stuff to each other is not a healthy way to connect, and that's not being kind. That's just being, I can say that word, and I didn't realize that doing that is not kind, it's mean. But because I learned the wrong way to connect, I really thought that was normal. I had to teach myself how to actually connect normally with people by actually asking questions about themselves, by actually being kind-hearted and vulnerable and sweet, and not hide behind this sarcastic, mean mask that so many of us love to wear and call that being funny. Sometimes it's just a mask and you're just hiding and you're just being super mean. I've had people telling me such mean stuff and I'm like, why would you say that? Is that how you communicate with people? So there's that as well. The last reason why you keep attracting toxic people in your life might be because you are an empath and you attract people who need healing. It's a well-known fact that empath people attract energy vampires because they are seeking healing energy, and that's what you embody. So if you don't know what an empath is, very quick summarize in a nutshell, empaths are people that can feel energies around them of other people, especially very deeply, as if it was their own. It can be overwhelming as hell, and I actually have a few videos talking about this that I really invite you to check, that will guide you through navigate being an empath and feeling solicited energetically all the time. So I highly recommend checking these videos if you're an empath, if you identify to this. If you're an empath, that's the way it is. So it's not about you, don't worry, there's nothing wrong about you here. It's your energy, and your energy will always attract that kind of people. So if you're an empath, you have to develop very strong boundaries. Okay, boundaries are the best friends of empath people. You have to have boundaries made of steel. Okay, but also you want to go over what I said before about the first point and the second point, because if on top of that, if on top of being an empath, you've also been through a lot in your childhood and you're also unhealed, and so still subconsciously, okay, tied to certain toxic energies, you're gonna keep attracting these people as well, and it's gonna be even harder because then you actually attract people that are toxic and familiar. So it's gonna be hard for you to not fall into this negative energy trap, and that's why it is so important for you empath people that you heal yourself, that you focus first on your healing, your personal childhood, your trauma, your healing, so that you really detach and develop strong boundaries with toxic people you grew up around. From there, know that as an empath, you will attract people that will see something in you, that will want to come around you because your energy is casting a light on what's not going well in their life, and so it is somehow attracting them to healing. Obviously, they're not even aware of that, and so it's your job to actually have strong boundaries. And so I also have video that will help you navigate this. What do I do when I feel solicited all the time, when I feel like people need me, need my help, I want to help, I don't know what to do? You're not a superhero, and you're not here to drain your energy and to let people eat you alive. That's not why you exist. So I really invite you to check that video. That will give you a very good perspective on the things you can do to protect your energy as an empath. But in a nutshell, what you need to understand is that when you keep attracting certain energies, certain people around you, that's because there is some kind of attachment, whether you're aware of it or not. Attachment works like this. Nothing can get attached to you if you're not attached to it as well. It works like this. And so when you keep attracting certain kind of people, you want to investigate inside and ask yourself if you're not attached to them as well. As I was saying before, through parent figure, through a certain dynamic that you saw repeating, that is so familiar and that you're attracting to that dynamic, you grew up doing things like that as well, and that kind of relationship is very familiar to you. You want to ask yourself that kind of question and detach from it, and you need need to also keep in mind that what is familiar doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you. So I truly hope this video was helpful. Don't hesitate to leave comment if you think of more reasons why you keep attracting toxic people. I would love to read that. As for me, I will leave you there and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.